Hi Year 2, it's time for another literacy lesson. So we're going to start off with another Vocab Masterclass today. For today's lesson, you are going to need paper and pencil, just like you always do, and you will also need your plan that you made yesterday. So if you haven't got that already, ask an adult or anybody that you're at home with to see if they've still got your plan from yesterday, because you might need it to help you with today's writing. Okay, our Vocab Masterclass. Today's target word is member. I'll say it and then you can say it. Member. Member. Fantastic. We're going to break it down into syllables now. Remember, those are the beats of our word. So get ready to clap, and we're going to clap whilst we say our word. Member. 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 It's got 2 syllables. So a member is a person or thing belonging to a group. It's a person or thing belonging to a group. And you can see here that I've got some pictures to help remind you of what it means. We've got a group of football players. They are all members of the football team. We've got some people here that are all together in a group. They are all members of that group. And I've got this little image here of 3 people and a tick because they are a member of this group of people. Is there anything that you're a member of? If you think there is, tell somebody in the room. What are you a member of? Maybe you're a member of a football team or a sport, or maybe you go to church or mosque. Fantastic. So the word member is a noun. It's a noun. What is a noun? Can you remember? Tell somebody in the room what a noun is. Brilliant. So a noun is a person, place, or thing. So if you're a member, you're a person, aren't you? You're a member of something. You're the person belonging to that group. And now we've got a sentence with the word member. So get your Kung Fu punctuation ready and make sure to say our target word in a big, loud voice when we get to it. Jenny was a member of the gymnastics club. Bang. Fantastic. Well done. Now it's your turn. Can you think of a sentence using the word member? You might want to use the pictures to help you, or maybe you can think of something that you're a member of that you would like to talk about. Put the word member into a sentence and tell somebody in the room what your sentence is, or jot it down on a piece of paper. Pause the video, off you go. Fantastic. So here are 2 sentences that I came up with. He had a membership for the gym. There he is, with his membership for the gym. Now I've added something onto the end of the word. I've added a suffix onto the end of my word. Ship. It's like I've pushed 2 different words together. Membership. And I've pushed them together. Now ship is a suffix, and it means that something is like part of something else. So if you've got a membership for the gym, it means you're part of that group. But it's a noun, so it's something that you belong to. He wasn't just a member, he has a membership. It's something that he's physically got, maybe with a card or something that shows that he's got a membership for the gym. Let's read the next sentence. There are hundreds of members of the local church. There are hundreds of members of the local church. There they are, all members of the local church. What suffix have I added onto the end of our word member this time? Yeah, fantastic. Just the letter S. I have made it plural. So you can be a member if there's just one of you, or you could be members if there's more of you. So maybe all of your family are members of the local church or mosque. Synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms mean the same. Antonyms mean the opposite. There aren't any antonyms for the word member but there is a synonym, subscriber. So you can be a member of something, or you could be a subscriber of something, although subscribers tend to pay if they want to be part of something. Let's recap what we have learned about our word. What's the word? Member. Fantastic. What does the word member mean? Can you remember? Tell somebody in the room. What does it mean? Fantastic. A member is a person who is part of a group. And can you put the word member in a sentence? Fantastic, well done. So you might have said, Jenny was a member of the gymnastics club, or you may have come up with your own super sentence. Well done, everybody. Okay, let's carry on with our literacy lesson. So, what is this a picture of? What can you tell me about all of these pictures? What is it showing? Tell somebody in the room, what is this? Fantastic. So this is the life cycle of a frog. Let's start at the beginning. That's this picture here. What is this a picture of? Shout it out. Frog spawn. Well done. So the life of a frog starts with frog spawn. And then what does the frog spawn hatch into? Shout it out. A tadpole. Well done. Eventually, the tadpole gets bigger until it grows legs. Brilliant. So this is a tadpole with legs. And then finally, it grows more legs and it starts to come out of the water. What is this a picture of? A froglet. Well done. And eventually, the froglet uses up its tail for food, and its tail disappears, and it becomes what? An adult frog. Fantastic. I can see you've remembered a lot about frogs. So we received a letter, didn't we, from Jeanne Willis, the author of Tadpole's Promise. Can you remember why she needed our help? Fantastic. She needed our help because butterflies were being eaten by frogs all over the place because they didn't understand that the tadpole would grow up to be a frog. So what has she asked us to do? What are we going to be doing? Fantastic. We're going to be writing an information booklet for caterpillars and butterflies to explain how tadpoles change. So we're going to be writing the first and second sections today. So look at your plan from yesterday and look at the first section and the second section. If you're not sure what they are, I've put pictures on of each of the plans to show you. We're looking at the first part and the second part. What are those sections about? Tell somebody in the room, what are the sections about? You can use these sentence starters to help you. The first section is about. The second section is about. Pause the video, tell somebody in the room, what are the first and second sections about? Brilliant, well done. So hopefully you've spotted the first section is about frog spawn. Frog spawn. Let's say that together. The first section is about frog spawn. Fantastic. A lot about the second section. Well, hopefully you've noticed that the second section is about tadpoles. Let's read that together. The second section is about tadpoles. Brilliant. Now I need your help with writing my first section. So as you can see, I've got a copy of my plan here. I have also got a word map to help me. And I've got my success criteria to help me whilst I am writing. When you do your writing today, you're going to get a template a little bit like mine. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write my subheading and I'm going to copy that straight from my plan. What is the first section of my plan called? What is it about? What is the subheading? Shout it out. Well done, it's frog spawn. So that is what I am going to write on the first line. And because it's my subheading, I might even underline it so that everybody knows that that is my subheading for my first section, frog spawn. And I've got this little box that I could draw a little picture of what frog spawn is, or print one off and stick it on. So I'm going to read my plan now. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. Frogs lay eggs on top of the water. Okay, that's the information for my plan. Am I just going to write those sentences straight onto here? No, because this is just my plan. It's there to help me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my success criteria. Write a topic line about a subheading to introduce my paragraph. Okay, so that's going to help me. The first thing I need to do is write a topic line that's introducing my paragraph. But how can I do that? Well, I want people reading this to know what this is straight away. When they see the word frog spawn, I want them to know what it is. But do you think that the caterpillars and butterflies are going to know what frog spawn is straight away? No, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to tell them. So I'm going to start off by saying frog spawn is. What is frog spawn? Tell somebody in the room, what is frog spawn? Fantastic. So frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. Brilliant. So that's given a little bit of information. It's introduced my paragraph. Write a topic line about the subheading. Frog spawn. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. It's telling me straight away what frog spawn is. It's introducing it. It's a topic line about that subheading. Now, have another think. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. Brilliant. That's going to help those caterpillars and butterflies know what frog spawn is. But do they know what it looks like? No, because we've not told them. My picture might help them, but it's important to also include a description of that as well. And that's what I'm thinking about whilst I'm doing my writing. I'm thinking, right, if I was reading this and I didn't know what frog spawn was, what would be the most important things to tell me? What would I want to know? So frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. What does it look like? Tell somebody in the room, what does frog spawn look like? I'm going to make my word mat a little bit bigger so that you can see it better, and then you can maybe use some of those words to help you. Fantastic. So the word that's jumping out to me is this one here, cluster. Because it's a cluster of eggs in jelly, isn't it? And it floats on top of the water. So I'm going to say that in my next sentence. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. It is a cluster of eggs in jelly. What kind of jelly? Jelly that we like to eat, strawberry flavour? No, it's not in strawberry flavoured jelly. It's in a clear jelly, isn't it? Think about the colours. Think about how we can describe that. That's what I'm thinking whilst I'm writing. It's a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. Right, I'm going to read it through just to check that I'm making sense so far. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. It is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. Great so far. I'm going to say here that it floats on top of the water. It floats on top of the water in a pond. Okay. Can't forget my full stop. Great start. Let's have another look at my success criteria. Write a topic line about a subheading to introduce my paragraph. That is here. That was the first thing I wrote. I explained what frog spawn is. Use my plan to help me with my ideas. So the next things I've said are explaining what frog spawn is. I've said it's a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. It floats on top of the water in a pond. Have I taken that from any of my the parts from my plan? Let's read my plan and check. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. Frogs lay eggs on top of the water. Well, I've talked about the frog spawn floating on top of the water, but I've not mentioned that it's laid by frogs. But I have said it's the eggs of a frog. So maybe I don't need to mention that now. I think I've probably included that. But I haven't mentioned this part. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. So that is going to be my next sentence. And then I think I will be finished. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. It is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. It floats on top of the water in a pond. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. Okay, so now I have used every little part from my plan, so I can give myself another tick on my success criteria because I've used my plan to help me. The last part on my success criteria says all of my sentences match my subheading. So now I need to check that every sentence I have written talks about frog spawn. I've not written about anything else except frog spawn. Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. Tick, that's about frog spawn. It is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. Tick, it's still about frog spawn. It floats on top of the water in a pond. Tick. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. Tick. Fantastic. I think I'm doing a really good job so far. Now I've written my paragraph. The next thing that's important to do, I've read it through, checked that it's made sense, I've ticked off my success criteria, is have a look at this, the checklist for writing my information booklet. Have I read through my work to check that it makes sense? I have. Have I used capital letters and full stops correctly? Well, whilst I was reading it through, I was making sure that I had my full stops and my capital letters after them, so I think I'm okay with that. Have I used my phonics knowledge and word mat to help with my spelling? Well, I used my word mat to help me with the word cluster, and all my other words I took from my plan, so they should be spelled correctly. Ways to improve my information booklet. So I could read through some of these now and decide, are any of these going to help me to make my writing even more interesting? Have I used adjectives? I have used clear. Maybe I could use some others somewhere, but it's also important to remember that this is an information piece of writing. So I don't need to have loads of different adjectives in it because it's supposed to inform people. It's not like a story where we can put lots of adjectives. Oh, what about this one? I have used coordinating conjunctions and, so, or but to use different types of sentences. Well, I've not done that, but I think I probably can do that. So, where could I put an and, so, or but? Frog spawn is the eggs of a frog. It is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly. It floats on top of the water in a pond. Frog spawn is important because it brings life. Now, I think I'm going to join together this sentence and this sentence. So instead of saying it is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly, I'm going to say it is a cluster of eggs in clear jelly and it floats on top of the water in a pond. Perfect. So now I can give myself a tick because I've managed to improve my writing and make it more interesting. Thank you so much for your help. I'm not going to write my second section now, just because I think it's really important for me to make sure that you are ready to start your writing. So everybody's task is to write the first 2 parts of the information leaflet. Okay, so I've written my first section. I just need to write my second section now, and then I'm done. Your job is to write the first section and the second section. So the first one is going to be about frog spawn, and the second one is going to be about tadpoles. And I've included this template on the school website to help you with your writing. You can draw a picture here, the life cycle of a frog. You could draw a picture of the life cycle, and you can say who it's by. So mine would say, by Miss Mannion. My subheading goes on my first line, and then that box can be used for a picture of each section of the life cycle. So my first part is about frog spawn, so I could draw a picture of some frog spawn. So that's what everybody's doing. Everybody is writing this information booklet. You are only writing the first 2 sections. We're going to write the last 2 tomorrow. If you need a little bit of extra help whilst you are writing, you can use the 2-star or the 1-star challenge to help you. Okay? I'm going to talk about the 2-star and 1-star challenges now. If you did the 1-star challenge plan when you made your plan yesterday, you should do this challenge because it's going to follow straight on from the plan that you made yesterday. Okay? So yesterday you had a plan that looked like this and it said choose 2. So hopefully you circled 2 things about frog spawn. The things that I circled were life begins on top of water. I am going to use those 2 things to fill in the gaps in these sentences. Okay? The first thing that I am going to do is I am going to write words underneath the symbols that I do recognise. So, with what is this a picture of? Fantastic, it's frog spawn. So I'm going to write that on that line. And I've got it here again, so I'm going to write it twice. With frog spawn. Life begins with frog spawn, or on top of water with frog spawn. Which one makes sense? Brilliant. Life begins with frog spawn. That one makes sense, so I'm going to write that on that line. Frog spawn is found on top of water, so I would write that on that line. Then what I can do is on my nice template for my information booklet is write those sentences up. Life begins with frog spawn. Full stop. Frog spawn is found on top of water. Full stop. And I'm going to write those straight onto my nice template. So fill in the sentences first and then write them out neatly. It gets a little bit more complicated on the tadpole one because you are asked to choose 5 things. But again, you just need to write the things that make sense. So tadpoles live. Where do they live? Do they live, have gills, live, eat plants, live in water, live long tail, or live no legs? Lots of those don't make sense, but live in water does make sense. So I'm going to write that on that line. They have and They have gills, eat plants, long tail, no legs. What makes sense? And write them in those spaces. Use the 2-star challenge to help you if you get stuck. So that's if you normally do the 3-star challenge or the 2-star challenge. You need to use that if you get stuck. You're going to use the word frame to help you. Tadpoles have gills. They all match up with the ones that are on the same line as them. So don't say tadpoles have in at long gills. We're just choosing tadpoles have gills because they're on the same line. Or you might go, tadpoles have a long tail. Tadpoles live in the water. So you're just choosing the ones that are on the line together, and then you're writing that sentence up onto the template. I'm really looking forward to seeing your literacy work. Don't forget to send it into the class email, and I'll see you for literacy again tomorrow. Bye, everybody.